Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Horror and Heels. I'm Alicia.
I'm Jen.
And this week we have, who I have lovingly started calling our podcast boyfriends, Matt and Drew from the Post Credit podcast.
I like that. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Definitely.
If you guys didn't hear us guesting on their episode of 13 Ghosts over on the Post Credit podcast, we will link that in the description. Don't worry, we make things real easy. And so that's how we got to know one another. And boys, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everyone?
Hello. I'm Matt.
I'm Drew, and it's great to be on the show.
Yeah, it's good to be on the show and to be talking to your amazing audience.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're so excited.
We're very excited. Now, your audience had asked if we were drinking when we were on the show. You guys said you two weren't. The answer is yes. Jen and I are.
Absolutely, Drew. Especially after that, I wasn't going to, and then after that 2019 version, I was like, no, I'm gonna need a drink.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know.
So
more
Jen,
power to you two for being
sipping
sober
on.
for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jen, what are you sipping on?
I made a little concoction of gin with LaCroix and a little bit of juice. It's a Sapphire.
Sending you some bottles of something.
Right? Yeah, and Sapphire gin too.
So I like very fall drinks this time of year, and Captain Morgan has come out with an apple spice rum. If you guys haven't tried it,
Yes.
Give
It's
it.
actually really good.
I have not, but I
it's
need.
dangerously good.
is.
It goes down
It is.
way too smooth. And
Dangerous.
Right.
I'm sipping on that. I might run out of it, and if I do, then I've got the rest of my Thanksgiving bottle of Pinot Grigio next.
There you go.
Nice.
You're ready.
Just give me whiskey any day of the week, really. I mean, that's my go-to.
Do that. I'm trying
like
to
it.
I'm trying to use up bottles that only had an inch of stuff left in them.
That's always deceiving because you think it's a little bit, but you
Yeah.
forget the bottle's like this big, so you pour it,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, that's that was more than I was expecting.
Especially when you go to the freezer and then you find 4 or 5 bottles in there. It's like you got that about an inch in one, 2 inches in the other one, and you're just like, hey, let's try to mix all these together and see
Yeah.
what it tastes like,
That's a Long Island death right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And Matt and Drew, how was your Thanksgiving?
Very filling.
Yes.
Some great food, so very filling.
I can't, it's always on Thanksgiving, and I think this is the case with everybody, but, your eyes are always bigger than
Oh
your
my
stomach,
God, yes.
Yeah,
with Thanksgiving. So it's rare to see somebody go up there and load up a plate and then come back and then go for seconds, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, there are people that do it, I'm sure, but to the
that's
point
rough.
where I can't ever even finish the first plate, to be honest
Oh,
with
man.
you,
It's like a buffet, like when you're at a buffet and you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, I want all of that. You're like, never in my life
Absolutely.
have I eaten mushrooms and olives together, but in this
Yeah.
buffet lighting, it looks great,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Yep.
try it. And
Oh,
then you get back,
absolutely.
you're gonna eat all of
You got nachos, and then you got seafood crab on the other
Yeah.
side of it.
Right.
Who's eating seafood around Thanksgiving? What's
Yeah,
wrong with
yeah.
you?
Hey,
No,
there's
we
never not a
usually-
time good enough for it.
Since there was just 6 of us this year, we didn't do appetizers. But usually, when it's the whole group, we do have a nice little shrimp cocktail platter to start our.
Absolutely.
Well, and plus living on the coast there, I mean that makes sense to
Right.
have it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our selection of seafood here in North Texas is abysmal at best.
I like
really.
I like in the markets down here how we have seafood in the DFW area and it says fresh.
It's like, how does this
How
happen?
is this fresh?
Is it fresh?
But is it
How's
though?
that happening?
Is it
Yeah. Fresh from
gotta-
yesterday, maybe.
yeah,
but
right? Because it's like a day's drive from
at least.
any kind of ocean to
Oh,
North
yeah.
Texas.
And at least
Oh, yeah.
like 2 different warehouses or packing plants or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, and that's what's crazy about Texas. It's so big that it you literally could take you a day just to get through the whole state. You know?
I did a road trip with my friend, and we drove through Texas to get to Georgia, and yeah, we did Texas in one day. Like we had to do half a day, a whole day in Texas just to get through. We just went from Dallas to El Paso, and that was a whole day. It's like we're still in Texas.
Exactly. And that's with California. I mean, if you want to go from Northern California to Southern California, it's a long distance, but it's rare that people go, from one end of the state. They usually go into other states. You know what I mean? just to visit or whatever
You guys
else,
are talking to a woman who has to drive through other states to get back into her own state.
And the fact that your state is the size of Rhode Island, or the city of New York is the size of Rhode Island, but it has more people than the state of Texas, for that matter.
Right.
In a way.
And now you guys are wearing holiday hats. They're
Yes.
super cute. Are you guys real tree or fake tree people?
Always been real tree people.
Yeah.
However,
Guys,
It's 2020.
however,
Yeah.
right. The last couple years, because
you got a cat,
our
guys.
families have gotten cats, and now I think I'm up to like 2 or 3 because my son loves cats. I think I know how many animals I have. I'm up to about 3 now, 2.5.
Yeah.
And so it gets difficult to have a real tree. It gets difficult to have a fake tree, for that matter. But I mean, what the fuck am I gonna do?
All you have to do is buy the tree and tell the cat the tree is for the cat, and the cat will have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
They love
yours.
Yeah,
right.
the cat will be like,
Oh
"No,
yeah,
I don't
I'm
want
sure they'll respect my property.
By the way, I have to say that you love your son a lot more than I love my son. I'm fine going on record saying that right now, because if he asks for even one rankety ass hell beast of a cat to come into his home, that's a heck no, my son.
I'm right there with you because I'm not a cat person myself. Like in fact, we have one cat, but it's kind of like a half inside, half outside type cat, and it's my daughter's cat, and the cat hates her. The cat hates my daughter,
But she loves cats.
and she loves me, but I hate cats. I can't stand cats.
That's the evil
I
cycle
just
you
don't-
got going on there.
Yes, it's the weirdest thing. He will sit with me patiently and come to me and sit next to me, but she is dragging him by the neck half the time just to love her, and it just
See?
doesn't happen.
That's why I don't like cats. That's why I got you, is because I
Yeah.
want love. You don't give me that.
Absolutely.
So no,
Yeah.
that's why
See,
I don't like cats.
I grew up as a dog person. I mean, we love
Yeah,
dogs.
oh, yeah.
We've grown up
Same.
full size gold. Our family were all about the Goldens. We just love our dogs and everything. But at about 17, a dog, my cousin's dog, actually started making me allergic. I started getting allergies around him,
Oh, no.
and it was just around this one dog, which is weird because it was a poodle. And typically, you don't get allergies with poodles and everything, but
Then
I
you're
did. And then
allergic to their saliva.
Oh.
well, I don't know, because a couple months later, then
Yeah.
suddenly I was allergic
You never
to
know.
every dog, and I am allergic to
Whoa.
saliva because if I get licked, now it's everything. So we do have 2 Dachshunds, so I can handle the smaller dogs and everything. My
Right.
allergies can handle that and everything. But yeah, so I kind of if he's like, oh, I want a cat, all right, yeah, I do love my son. I kind of let him do what he wants.
More than
Yeah.
she loves hers. Oh.
We might my son screaming. I think we wore him out today, guys. We went, and every year when we get our Christmas tree, we do a big like the 3 of us do a big family lunch, like a lunch that's basically a dinner. And then we went to see, the local historical society up by us was doing pictures with Santa outside, so it was all safe and socially distanced and yada yada. And I like that better because I don't know when in this world we became, who thought sitting your child on a stranger's lap was a good idea? But I always searched.
Right?
Yeah.
I did it last year and I was like, why am I doing this? He just screamed the whole time. And so this year there's like Santa's up in the sleigh and there's a bench in front of him and you pop the kid on the bench and beauteous. And he didn't
Makes
cry
more
this year,
sense.
so the picture
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
went to get the Christmas trees. So you might hear him scream because he is very overtired. We put him down for a nap, but it didn't really work. So
Oh, okay.
How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
he's 2. He's like 2 and a few months. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's not quite 3. But if you see him, you would think he's 3. Tall boy.
Yeah.
I have a tall one. And yes, so we are a real tree household.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Love the smell.
I see.
Smell. Yeah.
Our tree
Oh,
has
yeah,
good girth this year. A lot of girth.
Yeah.
And a lot of sap. Don't worry, Clark. A lot of sap.
A lot of sap. A lot of sap.
Plenty of sap.
No, like, cause see, I grew up, loving the real tree and things like that. And we'd when we lived up in Maine, me and my brother, and we would go out to the Christmas tree farm and actually get our tree cut down right in front of us and take it back to the house and everything. And I just so happened to marry somebody that just happens to be allergic to cedar. And
She says
she says she is, but
He's calling her out.
I think more she doesn't like to clean up all the needles at the
no,
end
I
of
think
the-
she doesn't like the
doing all
smell
that
of
stuff.
it. She's
Yeah.
not.
That's
She
also
she
fair.
just is so
But
against the smell. But
Oh,
uh,
the smell is like half the journey.
it is.
It-
It really is. It's torturous for me. So I kind of have her at the point where, like, okay, we don't have a real Christmas tree, but we get at least a candle that
I
smells
was
like
just
pie.
gonna say that
know?
you gotta at least get a candle. That's exactly
least
what I was
that.
about to say. At
We do
least.
plugins all over our house, so
Yeah.
it just smells like it everywhere.
And she
Yeah.
thinks she's slick because she'll go to my parents' house and they'll have a real tree, and then she'll spend Christmas there all day and not complain once or not sneeze or anything else like that. So I'm starting to believe that. I think she's kind of lying to me. I think.
Wow.
I don't know. I gotta point that out to her.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
have
gotta
her
bring that
listen
up.
to the show.
Let us know how that goes.
Is have
Yes, I will definitely.
Listen, I once told my husband when I moved in with him, I was cleaning out the pantry, and I told him that the can of Spam had expired. And we lived in an apartment complex, so he brought the whole bag of garbage out, threw it in the dumpster. When he came back in, I go, so I don't want to start our relationship like living together on a lie. Spam wasn't expired. I don't think Spam ever expires, by
It
the way.
can't.
You just
It
don't.
can't.
I was
The only
just
things
like,
that expire are living
my home.
or we're alive at some point.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our big.
It's kind of one of those things that just keeps on going. It's like a Twinkie or something.
You
know?
don't like Spam and eggs? Spam and eggs are awesome.
I'm
I guess not.
I'm just like, oh.
not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Well,
I think I
like-
maybe had Spam once when I was a kid. I don't even know if I did, but just the
No, that's-
visual of Spam, I can't get behind it.
Does not belong in a
In a
can.
can.
You can put that on my gravestone.
Well, you know that in Hawaii they have this meal where it's like they get the Spam, they bread it, and then they put rice around it, and then like kind of almost like a backwards
getting worse.
sushi.
It's-
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
getting worse. It's I see. I like all those things. I love sushi, you
Oh, I
know,
do
but
actually.
this with that Spam, it just made it tasted really good. I don't know what it was,
I'll
but it
take
was good.
Buddy.
If you guys
Yeah.
can't tell, we'll talk about anything to not talk. Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening to Horror and Heels. If you're wondering how we're making this podcast, we're doing it through Anchor. You can go to Anchor FM to get started. It's free. They have creation tools that allow you to do it right on your phone or your computer. I edit. I'm actually recording this while I'm in my car waiting to go to my next client. They make life so easy. They even distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple, other sites. It helps you upload if you want to make a Patreon or anything. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I know zero about formatting and doing this and that and the other thing, and Anchor makes it so easy. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. If you want to learn more, go to the Anchor app or anchorfm.com to get started. Thank you and have a great day. Talk about the Black Christmas remakes.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
We're doing whatever we can to avoid talking about these movies.
Now 2006. No, the 2006
Stop.
one.
We
Okay.
got to get into it gently. We got to get into it gently.
Okay.
First, I want to know what you guys thought of the original.
That was my favorite.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the original is just a classic. I mean,
It's one of my favorites, yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Jen didn't like it, but it was.
I
it
thought
took-
I didn't like it, and then I saw 06, and then I saw 10, and I was like, oh, all right. Well, I guess I did like 10.
2019. I don't know why you keep calling it 10, Jen.
Oh, I don't know either. I will change that.
He said,
Why?
Hey, but does it really matter? I mean,
Does
in the
it?
long
Yeah,
run, it
exactly.
doesn't really matter.
just,
So good.
just,
You thought you were
yeah.
in 2010.
I'm gonna
just
say
call that
so
one.
I don't keep. Go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say, just call that one Black Christmas in name only.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
No, it shouldn't have been.
Right.
So I got, okay, so I did enjoy Okay, well, let's do 2006. First of all, it was a strong cold open and a good font.
Yeah.
Yes.
A nice font.
Like the font.
Like the font. Listen, you got to start off with the positive.
We got to find the positives where we can here, people.
Yeah.
Now we start to get a Billy backstory, and this isn't too upsetting yet. The Billy backstory isn't crazy. You maybe even feel bad for the small, yellow, little Billy. We do the heavy drinking and we go to the original kill from the first one, the plastic bag. So, keeping with the theme. I enjoy it.
Right on, like beat for beat kind of thing. Like, okay, cool.
Gotta say, I don't remember, with the exception of Mrs. Mack, and that's only because that's also her name in the original.
Yeah.
I don't remember a single one of these females.
Oh, they were none had the same names. They didn't have the same names, and that was confusing. And actually, they were
how is
named...
it that I watched all? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say they were named after singers who made memorable Christmas songs.
That's right.
So all the girls have last names of singer. There's Kelly Presley,
like Crosby.
Yeah, Crosby, Kit, Helms, Colvin. Like they all have names referencing Christmas song singers, which that's a cool little Easter egg.
That is.
But yeah, but it's
really
also
I watched those
confusing.
three. Yeah, and I watched those.
So bored, didn't even notice that.
See, I watched those three, and the latter two that I watched, 2006 and 2019. I don't remember any of that. I still remember Barb and Jess and Peter and all these people from the originals. I don't remember.
How do you not remember Bob?
Barb.
I mean, her brother
Barb
is
was
gold-plated cunt. I mean,
yeah. Well, Barb actually the den mother in this one, who was Phil from the first one.
Yeah.
Her first name is Barbara, which is homage to the original.
Right.
But that's the only name. I was like, it would be much easier if you just named them all the same.
Yeah.
Just keep it original.
Yeah.
Instead, we're stuck calling them Michelle Trachtenberg and
Katie
Chabert
Cassidy
and all that.
Hey, did you
Imogen Poots and all that?
Do you guys realize? You guys know that Katie Cassidy, her dad is the older brother on Partridge Family.
Yes.
Oh, David. So
David Cassidy.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, that's her dad.
I didn't know
She
that.
was in
Supernatural. She was in Supernatural.
She wasn't in Supernatural. She was also in, though, to go back to Michelle Trachtenberg, Gossip Girl. And I have said this to Jen before, and I will say this till the end of time. From 2000 till about 2008, I feel like every horror movie just walked onto the CW lot and just
was like, we'll take that
No,
one.
you're not lying.
And that one.
Yep. You were not lying.
I'm not, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the like for instance, Jensen Ackles from Supernatural did My Bloody Valentine remake.
Yeah.
And he did an outstanding job in that movie. And that's the thing, all these characters have done, some kind of role in horror movies.
Padalecki was in which one was he? He was
House
in
of Wax.
He was in House
and
of
Friday the 13th.
He was in
Yes, and Friday the 13th.
He got a double.
And she was in the blonde who listen, once again, none of these names stuck.
I'm not gonna know any of these.
That's from Gossip Girl. She was also in Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Remake.
Her.
Yeah, she was the one who got second.
Yeah, Michelle Trachtenberg. She was such a bitch in Gossip Girl.
She really was.
I hated her. She made it so easy to hate her.
I'm right there with you on that one. No,
I watch it.
That's not my thing.
If something's got a good plot, I'll watch it.
It just seems a little too frustrating for me.
Well, and I was a fan of Veronica Mars, and I know she.
I do like
she did the voice of Gossip Girl. So I was like,
break off from Matt over there, and you and I do a Veronica Mars podcast. I'm here.
I'm down.
I'm
down. Well, Matt's actually the one that got me into Veronica Mars. We've watched all the movies, we've watched all the series when it first came out, and love it.
For some reason, HBO Max, when I was done watching the 2019 version, stupidly said more like this, Veronica Mars. And I was like,
hold on.
one of these is a natural
Nothing.
twister, and one of these is
Nothing.
pure shit. But to clean my palate,
Excuse
yes,
me?
I will take a little Veronica Mars movie.
They should have said
Hey,
instead
on
of
just
this.
every other occasion.
It should have said instead of this.
Yes.
Maybe you'll like.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, you hated this?
Or white noise. Just said instead of this, watch white noise
White
because
Noise.
it's going to be better. I promise you. Yes.
Man. Although I
absolutely.
wouldn't fall asleep as fast to white noise.
This is true. This is true. And I can actually get through it like 15 minutes without having to pause it and just shake my head constantly. You know?
So the 2006 was my first intro. 2006 was my first intro to Black Christmas. I didn't even know there was an original. So that was my first taste of the film. So that's why when we were gonna watch 74, I was like, ugh, because it was so just weird. And I was like, I enjoy good horror. I enjoyed, fun, weird twists, but that was just too much for me. I was like, y'all, this is
They
just.
once again fell into the same
Yeah.
trap that Rob Zombie did with Halloween, answering questions nobody wanted.
Nobody asked. Yeah, nobody asked him.
I didn't need a backstory.
No.
I didn't need a back.
And the fact, did you feel like the sister, okay, in the 2006, do you feel like the sister was kind of like last minute thrown into the story?
Her,
Like, because when I was, no, Billy's
older
sister.
Oh no, Billy's. Oh.
Well, okay, sister,
Billy.
daughter, whatever you want to
Sister,
go. Yeah, sister, daughter. But don't you feel like, it was kind of like they were doing the whole backstory and kind of flashing back quite a bit, because there's a lot of times where I had to catch myself. Okay, wait, what time period are we here?
Yeah.
But when they threw the sister in, it was kind of like a afterthought. It felt like to me in a way.
No. So she is very heavily mentioned in the first Black Christmas.
Right.
Billy's
Right.
Well, Agnes, yeah.
Agnes,
Yeah,
don't tell them what
Agnes.
we did. Agnes, keep the secret. Like, her name is constantly mentioned. So no, I don't feel that way. I do feel the twist might have been a little better if the girl. Wait down her name. Hold on.
If it was Eve.
I thought if Eve was Agnes,
That's
it
what
would
I
have been a
thought.
Better twist.
Yes.
Put
Yep.
that down.
Well, and
Yeah.
and the movie made you think that way too,
For a
because
split
it
moment,
shows her face, and then we
Right,
go
and then
to
it
the
shows-
flashback to show Agnes, and then it goes back to her face again.
Right.
So okay, that's a cool.
But then
there's
it's
red
like-
herring, and then there's really messing with you. Just
As soon as they
you
did
know.
that, though, I was like, it's not her. Damn it. Because I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
her, then they're not going to do that. So, and I was like,
And-
that's for amateurs who don't know horror. They're going to think it's her. And
Yeah.
it's,
Yep.
Now, here's a
And see, for me,
what'd you
Go
say?
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, like when I said that, the sister kind of felt like an afterthought. Like in the original one, yes, she was talked about quite often, but when they start the remake, the first remake, it was kind of like they were talking about Billy, but not mentioning, there's more to his story as far as his sister. And I kind of felt like they're like, okay, well, we've got to add her sister into this movie, or his sister into this movie. Let's just do it real quick. Just throw it in there. Like in the first one, they did talk about her a lot more often than the remake. I felt,
Yeah. Well, but
And
they,
that's
but
kind
they
of
had
what I
already,
meant. Like,
but they set it up because he's in the thing when the first
Yeah.
person's killed. So, because I was kind of like, well, who is the killer?
Yeah.
Because I totally forgotten about this movie. I wiped it from my brain. I was like, oh, well. I was like, if he's in the thing, then who is it that's killing? And then once they introduced, I was like, oh, okay, so it's probably
yeah.
Agnes. That's what happens
what
if
I-
you name your kid Agnes. No offense to
For
anyone.
Well, and Eve's last name was Agnew, so that's why I was wondering why that
I didn't
she
even
had that name. But I think that I had read that the Bob Clark, who did the original, was friends with this director and kind of gave him his blessing. And he had envisioned that this kind of backstory while he was doing it, even though it was never mentioned, but like in his own mind, this was kind of close to the backstory. And I don't know about that, and I don't know about the whole the liver disease coming into it. And
Yeah.
it made him look like that guy from Sin City.
Yeah, right?
That's
Jaundice.
what I thought about.
That's where I learned about jaundice, by the way, also from this movie. I was like, I didn't
Oh,
know
really?
people could just be yellow. And then I
Yeah.
learned, oh, okay. Yeah, crazy. And I appreciated.
Jaundice is a liver disease, which
Yeah.
means how much was that mother had to be drinking so heavily
Oh.
while pregnant.
Yeah.
It's a miracle little Billy was even born.
Well,
Right.
to be
That's
fair,
what it is. Jaundice is a liver disease and typically gotten from excessive alcohol.
to be fair, I have to drink just talking about the movie. So if I were actually in the movie, I feel like I would definitely be drinking heavily.
Absolutely.
Speaking of drinking heavily, Mrs. Mack was not drinking heavily in
Yeah,
this,
they cut that.
and
I was disappointed
missed
in
it,
that.
and I needed it.
I was
Yeah.
disappointed. That was one of
And-
those good comedy gold parts from the original.
Right.
Was
He's
Mrs.
And
got a
she would have done.
stash
I
in
think.
every corner of the
I think
house.
Andrea Martin would have killed it if she had been like had a martini glass in her
Hilarious.
hand the whole time or something. Like
Yeah.
she would have been amazing. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
they utilized her
and
enough in this
Barb.
movie.
No.
Yeah, her and Barb were competing for who could be the heavier drinker. I think.
Yeah.
during the movie.
Right.
And then my big question is, if this person tries to escape every Christmas Eve, why, first of all, are you giving him things that can be made into a shiv?
Yeah.
I,
right.
I would never.
He'd
have
have to eat
things
applesauce off the
make
floor.
Candy cane into
Yeah.
a shiv. That seems like a lot of work, but it can be done. And why are you going into his room alone? Just nobody.
It-
in
Why is
his
there one?
little-
Why is there one guard? Like
one guard? Never any backup in these
Yes.
movies.
Well, and Rob Zombie did the same in the remake for Halloween. I mean, he had the one dude going in there. What was his name? Machete, who
Yeah.
plays the guy who
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
that or whatever.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
you
like,
kind
he,
of-
like,
I
trusted
think
it.
you blocked out how he escapes, and we're just gonna let
No,
it.
I remember that, but I mean, like whenever he's like walking him back to his room, I'm like, I'd have like 10 guys on Michael Myers, but that's just me.
I mean, he's only 7 foot, 400
Call
pounds,
me a
of
coward
pure
if you
muscle.
will.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a coward then. It's fine.
But I mean, that room that, the prison room, I guarantee you that none of these prison rooms in an actual prison, when you're looking through
Well,
the
it's a
window,
mental institution.
there's
Yeah, I
no
was gonna say.
corners that you can't see around. You know what I mean? So, and then that his cell was not that large. So it's like, where did he hide? I mean,
I think
he
he
was
hid
under the
he hid
bed,
under
right?
The bed, maybe, yeah,
But-
because the sheet was pulled down.
But then, why would you go in?
Right.
I mean, but that
That's
just
number
doesn't.
one. I would open the door, and if he's not in there, I'd be like, "Well, I guess I need to call reinforcements," and I would shut the door and
Yeah.
go
Well,
call somebody.
yeah.
I
Or
don't need
shoot
to go
some
in
pepper
there.
gas into his cell. Hey,
Yeah.
this if you're gonna try to hide from me, this is what you
Yeah,
get.
here you
once
go.
Once
Yeah.
you see the empty rocking chair there,
Yeah.
that's when you do the oh hell no, and you
Right.
turn around and go find
Right.
somebody.
And I was like, this feels very trappy because that hole also doesn't look big enough for him to have crawled through. So
No.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like,
Apparently looked big enough for Drew's Dashin to.
yeah. Well, on the top of that, I mean, he gets all the way to this house, right? He gets all the way to his house after he escapes.
He got there quick.
with no shoes on. Okay, and it's probably a good, it's probably like a negative 10 degrees where he's
Yeah.
at, but
Or at
no
least
shoes,
10.
and he gets to, I don't know how much experience he's had driving a vehicle, but
The same
he
way
gets
Michael
all the-
Myers
exactly.
did. I
Yeah.
think.
I know.
and
Well, I'll
how he
say
got back to
it's a
Haddonfield.
pothole.
I think that there's like a
No,
serial
once
killer
it-
bus
I
line
will
that
Say
runs.
this. Listen, I will say this until the day I am dead. If you have no desire to pass a driver's test, if you have no desire to follow the rules of the road, if you do not care about protecting pedestrians, what have you, driving is very easy. Straight gas.
That's actually
real. Like it's real.
that's actually very fair.
If you don't care about driving well, it's not a hard thing to do.
That is
Well,
very
what
true.
do you think he had to stop and ask for directions, to his own house? Because you never know.
he knew the way
You just
in
know.
the dark
Yeah.
at night.
Well, it
And I
happens
will
every year.
say, if you've got enough alcohol in your system to turn you yellow, he was probably warm enough to make it
You
through the
ain't
snow.
lying. You ain't lying. He's melting the snow as he
Yeah.
walks.
Yeah, it's fine. So, oh my god.
I'm trying to remember. Like I just
So
watched it.
yeah, like
Did you guys see the leg lamp? Did you
Yeah.
No,
guys-
but I did read
that-
about it. I read the
yeah,
reference to what's the director's name? Clark.
Bob Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and if you notice,
two Christmas movies completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but me and Matt tend to talk about this a lot. When we watch movies, and we consider the scenery and houses and things like that, where a lot of the story, situation, we consider it a character, I mean, the house was kind of like a character. It was kind of almost reminiscent of almost the, what's that movie? People Under the Stairs,
Yeah.
where they're crawling through the house,
Love that
Hell House, yeah.
Yes. And so it's kind of like real reminiscent of it because, the house is kind of a character and it's really the scenery, the snow outside, the everything.
This house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, problem number one. You're just walking around with that wonky ass tile.
Yeah.
Like,
Just a tile
come
bits.
on.
How
Oh,
thin was
God.
that floor?
Right?
I mean,
right.
I mean,
What-
you should be falling through that floor, I think.
Yeah, you should be falling through that. Also,
Also, no, go
by
ahead.
the mid 1980s, at least, especially for a sorority house that would have had to adhere to fire codes to continue their charter on campus, there's no way the electrical box would have still been under the house. However,
Right.
such great kill, I'm willing to overlook it.
Oh, that one was rough.
And you
That
notice
was
there's
good,
no insulation in any of these houses that they're crawling around and hiding.
Man, I have no insulation in my house, so I can't even be mad at that. Like, but I
Yeah.
guess in LA they thought they didn't need it.
LA.
Right.
But it still gets cold. Like we need it here. Believe it or not. I'm like
Yeah.
freezing right now. I'm LA freezing, but I'm freezing.
I'm
What
Elliot.
does that mean? Somebody help the East Coast person who actually freezes.
Well, exactly. I mean, you got to imagine how cold it is in that house.
Yeah, and draft. Yeah, there was no
Oh.
heater. Mm.
And you're going to
But-
tell me these spoiled bitches did all those decorations?
No, they hired
No,
someone. I'm sure they hired.
They
someone.
hired
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
All of them, not one of them wanted to get up and do anything. They just
No.
wanted to sit
Oh.
there and drink.
The one
Oh, wait.
goes out to the car with Miss Mac, and she's like, "What is
that? Yeah.
The only one willing to do shit was Lacey Sherbet. She's like, "Fine, I guess I'm going down to the house, under the
Well,
house."
It was her first. It was her first horror movie.
And they're supposed to be sisters here, okay? They're supposed to be sisters. And they leave the drunk one in the room the killer could just walk right in and
Oh,
stab
yeah.
her right in the head. And
as you mentioned in your 1974 episode, you don't leave
Don't leave
somebody
your
drunk
friend.
like that. Right.
or obviously you just don't drink, if you're in a horror movie.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you find out
Yeah,
you're in a
yeah,
horror movie, you better
obviously.
stop drinking. There
Yeah.
are rules. I mean, they tell us this in Scream.
That's
you
right.
know,
We
we
went
watch
over
the
it
Scream
already.
movies.
Your
there are rules
Scream
to horror
episode
movies.
was so good.
Oh, thank you.
We really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a almost 2.5 hour episode, but
And for all the women out there who listen to that and don't know Matt and Drew personally, so you couldn't yell at them for this, don't worry. I immediately let them know that Skeet Ulrich could still get it.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
For Riverdale, yeah.
handled.
Yeah.
Because they were like, he's
Yeah,
so old
and
on
it's funny-
Riverdale. And I was like, I was immediate. I'm listening and typing at the same time.
I always felt like Skull Ulrich was like the poor man's Johnny Depp.
Yes,
Even though
oh, definitely.
Johnny Depp is the
No,
poor man
no.
Johnny Depp.
No,
But
yes.
Skull
he was.
Ulrich is like,
Atrocious.
Oh, stop
I-
it.
well, he's like the
That's it.
second class version
I
of
get
Johnny.
you.
Shower.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
he
it
doesn't
does- it's-
shower.
I don't care. It's fine. Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah.
I see what he's saying though. Like Johnny Depp was a thing, and then somebody saw Skeet Ulrich and was like, oh, because there's like 5 stages to actors. There's who's Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
get me Johnny Depp, get me a young Johnny
Yeah.
Depp, and then who's Johnny Depp. So
Yeah.
Skeet Ulrich was
Exactly.
the get me a young Johnny Depp, even though it was only the 90s. Somebody saw him and
But
was
he
like,
almost said-
oh,
yeah.
we've got him.
He had that look, and even when he first came out, he kind of looked like a younger Johnny Depp. I mean,
Mhm.
just the way his facial
Yeah.
feature. I always thought like I
The way
think
he
when I was
grew his
younger,
Every time.
I felt like I got it mixed up when I
Like
was
the
younger. I
like the
felt like I
smoldering
did.
eyes, like the
Yeah.
eye. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally.
Yes,
Every
since
time.
I was never a Johnny Depp fan. It just didn't.
Huge Johnny Depp fan, and yes,
Yeah.
every time I watch Scream, I'm like, he wants to be Johnny Depp so bad he can taste it. Like he,
Oh, yeah.
he
Yeah.
was like
Well-
right there.
And Johnny Depp's like the original boyfriend that ends up helping. In horror movies, you always got the boyfriend of the main character.
Yeah.
The woman role, and he's like the original one.
From
He's
the
kinda
first
from
Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one. And so he's kind of like the the basis for that. I feel like
but I think Skeet does a good job of pulling off, at least the '90s bad boy. But that replacement and Scream 4, the one that we just had 5 years ago or 10 years, however long it's been.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely terrible. I think that was the point that I was making. Is like the new Skeet Ulrich, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's gained some weight and he's got some gray in his hair now, so.
Man.
I love a little
He's a
gray
man.
hair.
He's a real man.
Yeah, see, my wife won't let me color my hair. Like, I always tell her, I'm like, depending on what. Yeah. She told me, she said, I love the salt and pepper.
I'm not going to say the person.
Yeah.
But there is a famous political person in New York City who was recently on the news. He was sweating so profusely. His hair dye was streaming down his face. I will send you guys the name and you can look up that video and it's fantastic.
That's hilarious.
Don't dye your hair. You don't want
I won't. She won't let. Yeah, she won't. I'm trying to grow I'm growing my hair out a little bit longer than I'm used to, but even then she's barely putting up with it. And then she said that if I, she's a lot younger than I am. So, she likes the older salt and pepper look on.
And
yes,
I'm an older man. I need it to look like it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. All right.
My other favorite actress in this, Mary Winstead. Love her. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And I read that she was fresh off of Final Destination 3 and was asked to do this movie, and they wanted her to play the final girl, and she said no, she didn't want to get typecast, so she asked to be a character that got killed, which I thought was pretty cool.
Okay. Because was it the same director that did Final Destination?
Final Destination, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like, because I've seen Katie Cassidy, she's the final girl on this, obviously, but I kind of felt like
she didn't do so well in Nightmare though.
No.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean,
and she was in Final Destination also, wasn't she?
I want to say, I think she was
Katie
actually.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
I see you looking it up. You do it, girl.
Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But
like she's kind of and I watch, I do like some of these CW shows. I'm a big comic book nerd, to be honest with you, but so I watch a lot of these superhero shows on CW and stuff, and she's on Arrow, and she is. The only way I can explain it is she's a barely a good actor. Barely a good actor, if that makes sense. Like, she has enough acting chops where she probably is not like typecasted because who her dad was. But I feel like she's just barely a good enough actor where I'll watch a movie with her, but I'm not going to go out and make an effort to watch a movie with her in it.
Or it used to be we called those TV actors.
Yeah.
But I mean, nowadays we're like
that crossover dollar.
Right. We're in that golden age of TV now. You can't even see that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Kate Cassidy, I feel too, signed one of those CW never-ending contracts. She just has to. Her Jared Padalecki, they won't let him go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's about to do Walker, Texas Ranger.
On the CW. I'm like,
yeah.
Did he just sign a lifetime?
They think they're still in the studio system. It's like, hey, like Jason Statham was for Lionsgate forever.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, Jason, you don't have to do Lionsgate movies. Like, you can move to other studios. I just picture them
letting him take his shirt off. So why are we complaining?
Hey,
Jensen Ackles did that.
My wife has a thing for a certain episode in any episode that Jared Padalecki takes his shirt off, and she tells me it all the time. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm more of a Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, yes, she is blonde like my wife, but regardless, I'm more of a Jennifer Lawrence type fan. But she's all about the Jared Padalecki. More so than Jensen Ackles. Because he was on soap opera.
Like the height.
Yes. That I'm sure that has a lot.
May I ask, is your wife a short woman?
Yes, she is. She's about 5'8" or 5'7".
That's not short.
Okay,
I'm 5'4".
I don't. My wife is 5'1". My wife is 5'1".
So, see, I'm 6'2" myself. So, and that's
it's all relative.
So compared to you, she is short.
Yes, correct. So, I don't know if and with Jensen Ackles and those two actors, and Jared Padalecki, I think they have a problem. They kind of act the same in everything they do. Like you see them
acting together for how long? So
15 years at least.
Yeah, and before that, he was on Smallville, which was also on CW. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's kind of been sticking around with the CW for a while.
And he was on soap operas.
Wait, Jensen was on
Right, Jensen Ackles.
Jared was on Gilmore Girls first.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
And, along with who's the one that died at the very, spoiler alerts, the very first episode of Supernatural. What's the name?
The blonde?
Yeah.
Oh,
Adrian.
It
sounds-
it's not
it sounds a
Padalecki,
lot
but it's
like
Penelaki
Padalecki
or
or
something.
Yeah,
It's-
I know who you mean.
I get
Yeah.
those two confused.
But with I was gonna say with this movie too is that I love the Christmas lights, I love the Christmas feel, but then I also love that how they the one thing they did right with these movies, I think they mixed that Christmas feel with the horror slasher feel. You know what I mean? I thought they blended that very well. Just that feeling. I'm not saying the acting or the story so much.
No, that's what Alicia liked about the first one is the contradiction of this Christmas, this happy time and the season, and then it's contradicted with killing and death, and it's like so you got mixed feelings because you can hear the carols and see the lights. It's like, I should be happy right now, but I'm scared for my life.
And there's something very like Hitchcock like where you got the white snow and the red blood, it's that kind of feel. It's like a very Hitchcock type feeling, where the scene of you got this pitch white snow and then you see just blood red hit it, and it's just kind of
and it hits
iconic almost.
They do it in the
Santa
eggnog
statue.
too.
Yeah.
In the last one, it does it with the eggnog. Yeah.
Yep. It was a real good feel. Like as far as that kind of feeling, I think it brought back to the original.
But it still did a good job of making it feel like a Christmas movie where you have like Nightmare Before Christmas. Like I know that's the Halloween and Christmas, but I see that more of as a Halloween movie.
I call that a Thanksgiving movie because
that's good. Yes, that's genius. I like that.
I just like that they were able to keep enough of the aesthetic of Christmas there to make it to where I don't like a lot of macabre in my Christmas and everything, but this is one that I'm probably going to be watching every year now around Christmas time, because I had seen the remake this 2006 a long time ago, but I don't even think I finished it and I didn't remember it and everything. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start with the original. So I started with 74 and I was like, that was a damn good movie. I mean, like there was actually, because I don't really get scared of scary movies, but I mean, like there was
a lot of frivolity mixed in to the horror. Like they have that.
It was very disjointed.
Yeah.
They have that frat party where Barb's giving children liquor.
Yeah. Like they don't know what's going on most of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. But like the prank calls, and then his eye behind the door, and when she slammed the door and he started screaming, and then like his POV where he was just freaking out in the attic by himself. Like those are legitimately like creepy parts. That I was like, this is actually a pretty good movie. Whereas then you get to the 2006, and it's just kind of like one of those remakes. I don't want to say like the Dimension films that did a lot of a lot of all the remakes that were done back in the 70s and 80s and everything. But I really enjoyed the original, and I enjoyed this for what it was. At first, when I was first watching it, I was like, oh, this movie. But then I got to the 2019 one, and I was like, good grief.
I was like, God, I got to go back to 06.
Yeah,
I'm a hard no on any movie that can turn me off cookies for a few days.
Oh,
that was disgusting.
Here's my thing.
What was up with that?
The cookie
cannibal. Yeah, I mean,
they went into unnecessariness.
Right,
like,
and I didn't.
We did not need him getting raped.
No.
And I just want to say for
That's
women
bad.
out there, if your man is falling asleep while you're fucking him, you're doing something wrong. So reevaluate.
Switch that up.
Just take responsibility.
Take responsibility.
Or maybe you guys stop drinking so much when you're
could also be it.
Because I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, like I felt like it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I felt like it was extra, like we said, like with Rob Zombie, like she could have just had a different baby with her husband and then favored that child. Like they didn't have to be in. Like it was just it had a creepy
it was a step too far. We could have had the murder without the cookies. We could have.
Yeah. Right. She didn't have to.
Nice
so I read the guy, the director, not the guy, the director. He didn't want all that much violence. The Weinsteins came in and were like, we got to make this gory.
Shocking, that hard.
They had their grubby little hands in there. As soon as I saw Dimensions pop up, I was like, oh.
And the fact that it was, and this is all I'll say about it, but and the fact that this happened in a movie with the name Weinstein attached to. I mean, this is all I'll say about it, but I mean, just the fact that you had a Weinstein attached to that type of story. I mean, granted, I'm sure he didn't really have control necessarily about the storyline, but it just kind of, I don't know. It kind of made me a little uneasy
because
on that.
I mean they even had them shooting scenes that were just for the trailer.
Right.
And the director's like, what the fuck? You know, this isn't my movie anymore. A lot of people.
So I will give it credit for that. It wasn't what the director wanted. They wanted, because of Hostel and all that, they were trying to go for torture porn vibe, and it didn't need it. Like this would have been better with a creepy vibe.
Without it, honestly.
Just a creepy vibe.
How much blood was in the 1974 and it's considered a classic? You know,
right.
I mean, you don't need that.
And Psycho. I look at Psycho. You literally, and you will. Everybody thinks they see the stabbing. You don't actually see the stabbing.
No. I just watched it last night. There's
one of the most powerful images ever in cinema. You can actually hit your audience better doing less. One of the scenes that I thought hit so great in this one was the melting icicle. It melted. It came down.
Yeah.
That was just a circumstance death.
And it's like, that sucks.
And as a woman who lives in a world of icicles, that one hit. I was like, ooh, I gotta be more careful now.
You're like, oh god,
this.
Random icicle is gonna kill me.
But you know, no, that's actually happened to people though.
Oh yeah,
you know, that's
why you know you get told when you're younger, if you live in one of those areas, don't sit there
or knock them down.
Actually, look up and then move.
Like, don't. Yeah, they say like be very gentle. Yeah.
I mean, for me personally,
definitely injure you.
Yeah. For this movie, I think the best scene was at the beginning with the beginning of Billy's story, you know, where he was born and the father's just sitting there, you know, and trying to be a good father, you know, and the mother is just disgusted with the baby wholeheartedly. I mean, doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And the father, you know, is just a little bit of compassion throughout the whole movie. It was like, you know, the father was trying to do right by the child. You know what I mean? And try to be a good parent to the child.
Don't believe her, Santa hid you something, go up and look.
Also,
and I thought such a powerful crazy bitch.
I don't know how this woman got one man, let alone two men, and got the second man to kill the first man. Like who's killing for her?
I think that happens in Alabama all the time. I mean, no offense to anybody that listens in Alabama, but I think that kind of redneckness happens in Alabama quite often. I have to say.
Wow, she's got two men and got one to kill for her.
And then she ends up having.
But he fell asleep while they were having sex, so it's not that that's keeping them. So I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what kind of keeper he was, but I mean, she wasn't no prize either, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how she was able to get someone to kill someone for her. So
and she looks so much older than him. Right?
Oh God!
You guys notice that? Like
the drinking.
Yeah.
Well, like that house, that was a sorority house, right? It was like
it was. Yeah.
An 7 or 8 bedroom house. Like, how expensive was this house? Like,
that's what I was thinking too.
During 3 times, how did they afford this house?
Yeah, I was like,
I
don't care.
It had no insulation. That's probably how they afforded it. There was no insulation
on the
in
insulation.
The house. I mean, because here's the thing. You get fires and stuff like that, and like you were saying, you know, it's these houses are supposed to be, you know, fire rated. I mean, I work in construction myself, and the, you know, houses and even old houses have to live up to code, you know, and then there's no way in God's green earth that this house lives up to any kind of code whatsoever, and that's probably how they were able to afford
it. Barely has an area code, let alone
right,
standing up to fire codes. Jeez Louise.
Well,
I like.
I'm wondering if we've often heard of college towns where the surrounding of the town is very poor.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's just one of those things where, like, eventually the college itself just kept acquiring more and more property, but it was a dilapidated town, like, without the college's money to boost it.
Right. And I think a lot of these banks will donate these houses, not necessarily donate these houses, but give them, you know, schools good
rates.
Price, good rates to buy these houses up, and that's just like what the main character's boyfriend was saying, how, you know, he's lived on that street, you know, the entire time, his entire life, and he knew about the story of this house, and he was just like, I don't know why this was not taken a lot more serious when it was made into a sorority house,
Right.
this whole ordeal. But again, they were, their first present that they open is always for Billy, and it's just some sort of tradition that obviously doesn't work to ward off evil spirits like they were saying it does,
No, because it's not a spirit we're scared of. It's Billy himself. So
yeah. But I mean, he did definitely fit that bill of the horror, the main villain, where it's just very hard to kill them. But it's like, half these people would die from half the stuff that they go through. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's just like, I never understood why Michael Myers lived as long as he lived without any kind of.
But that's what made him scary, which is because
right.
there was a supernatural element, and that's what made that Michael Myers scary, which is why I didn't like Rob Zombies, because they humanized him and they made him human, and it was like, well, he's not gonna survive the stuff that our Michael Myers survived. No. Ours, there's something wrong with ours. I don't know what ours did. I don't know what's wrong with him. But
Dr. Loomis spent like 5 movies talking about how he's just pure evil, and then
right, exactly.
Like, well, let's break it down. Maybe he's not pure evil. But can I ask a question?
Yes.
Where was Agnes this whole time? Like between the time when he was taken away.
Right.
Well, remember, she was locked up, and then she had just been released that's what they were saying, that she had been released.
I must have missed that.
The police officer said that she'd been released.
At the end, when they are doing, you must have missed when the newscaster.
Maybe I turned it off really quick.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
We don't hate you for it. So the newscaster says, like, Billy, who had just escaped, teams up with his sister Agnes, who had been released from blah 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 blah, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so now. Like the last time she saw Billy, he ripped out her eye, right?
Yeah.
Because she only had one eye, so like, I don't know why they were teaming up. I mean, I thought it was
why
pretty.
she had some fetish with eating eyes.
I thought it was
like,
pretty. Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty heavy-handed that their last name was Lenz, and they really liked those eyes.
There was an eye obsession. There was an eye.
Yeah.
There was an eye even on her.
And why
saver. Like there were eyes everywhere in this movie, and I was like, "This is creeping me out." Like even the girl who died, the eyeballs on the screensaver are just bouncing around. I was like, "Why are there eyeballs everywhere?" Speaking of, when he stabs the stepdad, why is the eyeball facing out? That bothered me. Anybody else catch that? When he stabbed, when Billy stabs the mom's husband, he stabs him with the thing. I forgot what it was. But the eyeball is pointing out.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? If you're stabbing someone, the pupil's not going to be facing out. The pupil would be.
It's all about the visual.
He went directly. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. I thought he went directly through the entire head with it, and came out the other side.
He did, but it went through the eye. But the eye was pointing through the back of the head. Which, if you stab someone through their eyeball, the eyeball's not going to turn around when you stab.
But I thought he went. Oh, he went through the front.
Yes.
I
rewound it.
And then as
I wasn't paying close enough attention. I guess I thought he went through the back.
Nope. I was watching it because I rewound it. I was like, that's not how that works. The eyeball's not going to turn around. But I did like the unicorn reference to the original. There was a unicorn in it, which you wouldn't catch if you didn't watch the original because I.
In complete disclosure, guys, I watched this the Friday after Thanksgiving. It was a beautiful day on Long Island that day. Me and a whole bunch of people met up at the beach to have some beverages and just catch up after the holiday. I may or may not have been entirely sober during this viewing.
I wish I hadn't been, to be honest.
I try to never be, with the exception of work, sober any day of a holiday, and I have achieved my goal. So,
well, it's just something. It's something about having a drink while you, especially when you watch scary movies and things like that.
Right.
It's got to be some sort of tradition, because I've loved scary movies since I was a little kid, and something about it. It doesn't scare me. It's just the thrill of it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's enjoyable, and pretty much with scary movies, you can almost guess the plot in a sense. In a way, which way, who's gonna die.
The final girl.
Final
Oh,
Girl.
2019. You felt like we could guess this plot? 'Cause
Okay.
I gotta tell
Let's
you.
save that. We got to wrap up 06 before we even
Yes,
touch
yes,
19. We got to
yes.
wrap up 06 first because I can't touch 19.
Jen's saying is she's only had one drink. Give her another.
But yeah, sorry, what were you? So you like the thrill, and it's scary and it's just fun.
Yeah, it's nothing. I can honestly say the only movie that has ever really kind of got to me was The Ring, and it's not necessarily. It's one of my favorite, probably one of my all-time favorites, and because it came out during a period when like horror movies were kind of over there for a while.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't a big thing anymore.
It was a revamp.
Exactly. And then The Grudge came out and The Ring came out, and during that time period, and just something about like nowadays, the only kind of scary movies I really like is any of the Conjuring ones.
Yeah.
Like The Conjuring and Annabelle. I love those
and
movies.
it's because before that, the horror movies had turned into these jump scare.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
like, oh, let's have the teen love, and it's very predictable, and it's jump scares, and it was like, I don't like jump scares are fine occasionally, but like The Grudge was creepy.
Yes.
Orphan, love Orphan. There's no jump scares in that, but that movie is creepy. The twist, you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll say, I've been seeing horror movies with my dad since I was an infant, and he's been taking me. We saw The Grudge, and when she lifts the bedspread, and The Grudge is under my dad, I've never visibly seen him freak out. Like, he jumped a little bit. He was like, "Oh no!" Like like that just changed. It was like, "Oh, and it wasn't a jump scare. It wasn't this. She popped out and grabbed her. It was just like she lifted a thing slowly, and this face is there. It's like,
for The Grudge. Thank you.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the noise, the noise that she made too.
Yeah, the noise.
I used to do it to my best friend.
Yeah, probably just a little bit, maybe just doing the little the Grudge noise.
Yeah, but me,
Riverdale
my best friend.
From a few
Yeah, oh yeah.
My best friend, he'd spend the night. We'd have beers and stuff like that, and we'd watch a bunch of scary movies. But he'd spend the night, and my brother, he used to make the noise like he'd be sleeping. My best friend would be sleeping, and my brother would come up there and start making that noise, and he'd be like, and it would just freak him out, and he would just get so upset with Matt making that noise, and he'd be like, I've got to go, man. This is just bullcrap. This is bullcrap, And he's not like a super scared person, but just that noise, it flipped him out. And then it's just good. And then like with The Ring especially, I just the whole backstory that they decided to do in part 2 was really good, and I just love the fact that you could not get away from this person. I mean, if you watch that movie, you're pretty much shit out of luck on that.
And that's the thing, and same thing with The Grudge, because our first, being black, our first reaction was, well, I won't go in the house. B, if I do, I'm going to move to another country, and then I'll just lose it. And then they came out with The Grudge 2, and it's like, oh, she went back to the States and it followed her. So there goes that.
Yes.
That's my ultimate fear.
That time, and I feel like that time period just kind of kicked up the horror movie film, industry up a lot more there. And then you get some of these. Then they went into like Saw movies. I've noticed, like like a lot, not so much like horror.
Well, we've talked about our peaks and like revolutions of horror movies. They in the early '90s they went away. And Scream brought it back, real quick. And then, you had your Paranormal Activities and your Hostels and Saw.
Blair Witch Project.
You have your little spikes in horror every once in a while. And, like in between 2015 and now, we've had all
I think it's the
Conjurings and
Insidious. Both have the same actor. I love that. Awesome. The third one. Oh my god, I love that whole how they tie in all 3 movies. Insidious is so underrated for a horror movie.
And it's a lot of it too is that it falls into that category where it's the scenery, it's the house, and same thing with Hill, a lot of these scary movies, you can't just throw people in a field anymore, like with Children of the Corn or something like that. You can't just throw them in a field anymore. You've got to have the scenery to complete the picture, I think, and that's a lot of these times. I think that's Boiler Room for Freddy, and then the lake for Jason. That kind of thing. I think the scenery has a lot to do with it, and just like with this one, the house was a character in the film. I felt
definitely.
I think the biggest thing to say about the difference between this one and 1974 one is little goes a long way, because they get some of the old stale storylines of some slasher movies, but they're like, okay, now we got the budget that we have in 2006. So let's go nuts on it, which I really like the aesthetics and the colors and everything, but little goes a long way, I think.
Yeah.
Like, now we had Kyle in this one, who is your townie. He can't hold a candle to Chris. First of all, he doesn't have Chris's amazing coat collection.
The fur coat.
Yeah.
I really liked Chris. I really liked Chris. He was no nonsense. He was like, what are you doing?
When Chris got got, I was sad. When Kyle got, I was like, finally, revenge porn king is gone.
He was annoying.
Wait, was he cheating? Was he cheating on her with somebody else?
Yes, with her roommate.
He had said that was from before. Now that was the roommate that wouldn't come out of her room that eventually got killed at the beginning. Right?
If it was before, but if it was before, wouldn't her roommate, I mean, unless it's just a shitty person.
He made it sound like that they had hooked up before the kid Cassie had gotten there or whatever.
Min-lie, Matt.
But I was like, who cares about that guy? Yeah.
Well, that's why he was going into that room. He went in that room to try. I guarantee you to try to
keep her away from the
Yeah. So I mean, that's what he was trying to do the entire. And he was such a weak character. You know what I mean? Like he just was.
Like a throwaway. Like you didn't care.
Yeah.
Like he didn't bring.
He knew he was going to die some way.
Even when he had the knife, he let the two women go ahead of him. I was like, what a hero we have here. You have the knife in your hand, and you're letting them go ahead of you. I was like, all right, he's worthless.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. I mean, really, whenever a man's that pretty, he's worthless.
Well, you have, I mean, even, and I know we're going to talk about this one, but even 2019, you got kind of the townie character, but he's even more stronger than Kyle from this one. In the 2019, the boyfriend, I mean, he did what he did, and we'll talk about that, but it's just, you got to have that Kyle or Chris character in the film, just to fail.
Because I mean, it's played by Oliver Hudson. Like, you would think things would have gone better, and it just didn't.
Well, and then did you see the alumni? I was telling my brother about this, but see the alum from on the original, you had the same guy that played what's her face? Oh man,
Peter.
I'm gonna bring.
You're talking about Margot.
Peter.
No. The father from Freddy Krueger.
John Saxon. Oh yeah, John Saxon.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and he plays this role, like in 1974 and in Freddy Krueger. He plays that role.
It could be the same character.
Same person. I mean, literally, he's just that. Although he's good at that.
Is this town just fraught with bad guys, and he's
he's a
weak man,
and he's a little less serious in this movie too, because as you guys were saying in your 1974 episode, they were giving that other guy crap because he's putting fellatio down as the phone number and everything.
Good old Nash.
Poor Nash.
Poor Nash. He tried really hard to get her out of the house at the end, though.
He did. So now, do we have other fabulous thoughts or insights too?
Well, I think the director, I think this was the last film he did, right, in 2006, because it bombed. So like it did make more money. It was like $9 million to make the movie, and then it only grossed something like $21 million, I think. And I believe he did some X-Files episodes, television episodes, and that's it. Like he even said that if this movie bombs, he's not directing anymore. And well, there we go.
I think the last thing. Yeah, I think the only thing really to say about this is typical. It's typical for its era. The early 2000s to mid 2000s.
It could have been so much better.
Yeah, it was more about gloss.
Tightening things up.
Because I don't mind. I liked having the backstory of the killers. I liked understanding who they were and why they were. I liked having that. They took it too far. Right. I didn't
come from a drunk household.
Yeah, that's it.
Where his mother killed the father.
Like that.
The storyline there. And like you said, you want to put in the sister, have her just be a sister.
That would have been the great place for Rob Zombie's background for Michael Myers. That's where that fits, because it's just a person, and it's a person that had an effed up childhood, and that's it. Like that's where that would fit, not this.
If you notice that formula that they're using, Rob Zombie uses, and then the director used with this one, where they make you almost sympathize for
they're humanizing
and I hate that. I hate
It doesn't work.
You're watching a movie about a monster. Don't humanize the monster.
Don't humanize ever.
Like,
That's what pissed me off about Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Don't.
You could even.
We're over here humanizing Jaws.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
but it just,
You could even talk about like what happened, but I don't necessarily need to see the child because that makes it less scary for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Michael Myers, the original Halloween, it showed him as a kid once, with the mask being taken.
Two-story house, a sister, both parents, like no reason for him to go crazy.
And it was short enough to where you just see him just staring off into nothingness. There was nothing behind that, and that's it.
That's scary. That's scary because there's no reason for it. He should have been fine, but he went psycho.
Yeah.
But the one thing there were 4 women from Final Destination movies in the 2006 Black Christmas. The older sister that comes was a teacher in the first one.
Right.
She's
I
the
will
one.
say.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will say that this was in Japan marketed as a Final Destination.
I saw
movie.
that too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So there was some kind of language barrier there or something when they did that. But
That's all bad.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't a language barrier. There was a Final Destination did well in Japan. Let's try to rape them for some money.
You ain't lying. You're not lying about
I
that.
try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You
I
see
don't
a lot of these.
You don't do that.
Well, and you see a lot of these movies that they do translate, or not translate, but they go from Japanese, like Grudge, even Old Boy was it was an Asian film before it was an American film, and they do very well, I think, when they translate that. But then you get a film like Parasite that wins the Oscar for best film, and it's also translated. It's not even translated, to
Yeah.
just. I think the that Asian culture, because there's a lot of like old history there, and so when they put it into a movie, I think it translates really, really well.
But also in Hollywood, you get to a point sometimes where the same idea just keeps bouncing back, where you're just putting it in different scenarios.
Yeah.
And they do that a lot with horror movies. They do that a lot.
Yeah, and if we all opened ourselves up a little bit more to more cultures and see that they got different stories to tell and everything, we'd see a lot better movies.
Let me ask y'all a question about this, because I was trying to think about this. Can you ever do you know of a remake, or like in your opinion, what remake of a horror film did as well or even better than the original?
Oh, yep.
Really?
Yep.
See, that's
I won't say I did not love part 2.
Yeah.
Part 1, those kids knocked it out of
I agree.
the park.
Yep.
And I do feel that it did bring in a lot as an avid reader. Like I've read probably it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
I did feel like they did a better job of bringing in all the universes.
Yeah.
And also, could be just my Bill Hader. I love you. If my marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just saying. But I thought it was shot beautifully.
I would agree with that.
I have to say it is one of those stories where having better special effects helps the story.
Right.
Whereas Black Christmas, I think having less special effects in 1974 helped the story.
Yeah.
It grounded it.
Yeah, and that's like, for me, the original, the Nightmare on Elm Street, they, again, with that remake, they could have done so much better, but they trying to change the story with Nightmare and the newest remake or whatever, or the remake. They just tried to redo the story and change it. And like with it, I think when that original one came out, it was they edited it like big time. They took out a lot of stuff that wouldn't have flown at that time period. Well, even though it flown in the book,
And to be fair, it was picked up, I believe it was either ABC or NBC.
Yep.
It was a network.
It was a network.
That's why, even though CBS picked up The Stand, they threw it onto All Access, because they're like, we're not limiting this story by what FCC censors. I'm hoping they do great with it. I think somebody like HBO probably could have done better, but we'll see
absolutely.
where they are. I'm a little
And as far as like, I think as far as special effects and stuff goes, I mean, you got like John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, that was a remake. That was, but it was because you have somebody that understands horror and somebody helming that not only, you know, puts that had a good budget for the body horror and stuff that was in that, but, you know, is able to keep a good tight story together. Same thing with The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum's, you know, the Fly. That was a remake as well that I think did a lot better than the original.
I would also throw in The Thing.
Yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yep. Or what about the even the Fog, the one with Tom Welling,
Superman or
Clark? Yeah, I actually enjoyed that movie. And funny enough, you know, it wasn't, you know,
I don't
spectacular.
think I've ever seen the original.
The original was, I mean, it was good for the time, but I thought what they were able to do with the special effects in the Fog remake, I think made it better. Because it was able to do some of the special effects that you couldn't do in the original, you know.
Right. And now I have not seen it because I was shying away from the Stephen King remakes. But everyone said the Carrie with Chloe Morgan
Moretz.
and oh God, I can picture her right here. But everyone said that was really well done. So we'll probably be doing that sometime in the new year. And I'm excited. So I haven't watched it yet because I knew we were going to do it for this. And I kind of want to go into it fresh.
Right.
But people that I respect said good things about that remake. So I'm excited for it. But I think that's probably going to be one of those ones where it's, you know, 2013. I think it's going to be one of those ones that it's just because it's got such a phenomenal cast.
Yeah.
That it's going to be as good, or Julianne Moore plays the mom. That's who it was.
Yes.
Kill me
and
if
she
I
does an
can.
awesome role. She does an awesome job in this and playing that mother. And my daughter actually was Carrie for Halloween.
Good cast that I'm wondering if that's going to be one of those situations. I think probably too, like it was for me, where the cast is just so phenomenal they cannot be denied.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that. I am not excited to see the Pet Sematary remake. We will.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. I'll tell you that right now. Let Me In. Have you ever seen the Let Me In one with Chloe Moretz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's actually a remake too of I believe it's a Russian film.
So that's the remake of Let the Right One In.
Let the Right One In. That's right. That's right.
Book. And talking about books that terrified me and made me cry and made me rejoice at the power of friendship. Like when a book can do that, and it's doing that all with the same character. It's all Chloe Grace Moretz characters that's making you feel all those emotions, terror for her power, love, like you feel the love she has for her only friend, and you feel just the joy of what friendship can do. It hits on every level.
It does. Especially at that age too. I mean, she's a little bit older, you know, she's not human, you know, but so she, even at that age, you know, she befriends a child that's obviously younger than her, right? You know, and you're right about that. You know, it's just really, it's more so about friendship and how no matter who you are or where you're from or this kind of thing, you know, that you still have that friendship. And, you know, no matter if it's, one's a vampire and one's not, you know, that kind of thing. So.
Friendship goes beyond species.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I like Fright Night. I thought the one that with Colin Farrell, I thought that was a pretty good remake too.
I liked that one. Yes,
I liked that
one, and I liked that they gave more of the friendship between. I can't remember their names, but the main boy and then his friend, and they explained more of their friend, because the friendship in the 85 version, you're just kind of like, are they friends? Are they not friends?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't really figure out what was going on. So they kind of expanded on that and explained it more, and you kind of got this feeling, okay, they were actually friends. He's still trying to be his friend. Yeah. It was much better explained in the remake. I like that.
And having David Tennant in the movie. I mean, Yeah,
Can't go wrong with David.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a David Tennant guy. My brother's a Matt Smith guy. You know, when it comes to the doctors but just something about David Tennant. He's just an amazing actor, no matter what he does. And
I just want to know if he was actually drinking that much Midori and if his stomach ever recovered.
Oh, I can imagine. He seems like one of those type of people that are so full of energy that they have to have something to be able to. I don't know,
He did such a good job in Jessica Jones. I love.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. That was good.
Not to go.
By the way, I danced with Matt Smith at a Comic-Con party.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That is
Just wanted to
amazing.
throw that. And then the next day, my friends were like, "We're trying to stand in line to see Matt Smith," and I was like, "Oh."
Wait, was he wearing a bow tie when you were dancing?
Yeah.
with him?
He was actually wearing a white T-shirt and jeans, which I like that look. So I was like, "Okay, yeah."
He's a good character.
Yeah.
And even the Harry Potter films, he's excellent in those too, I mean, playing that role. And you know what's great about David Tennant? He can play the nice guy, he can play the criminal.
Oh yeah.
He can
He's
play
fun.
these different roles, but he's always got a smile on his face. Like no matter what he does.
Like a little
the
smirk,
guy's-
like a
Yes.
little knowing,
Yes.
like in his eyes, or like he knows something you don't know.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it seems like he's so in control of his trade, his acting trade. He just that he's able to do that and pull it off still.
And you could tell he had fun playing this degenerate vampire hunter guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He had a blast playing that role because it was so
Oh,
not
absolutely.
Doctor Who, which was
No.
mostly what he had been playing for the last few years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he had to break that.
Oh God. Okay, is it time? Do we have to go to this?
Any final thoughts on 2006?
That's it.
That's it.
I-
Well, let me ask you this: are you guys gonna watch it? Would you ever watch it again?
No.
No.
By
I'm
choice.
able to enjoy cookies. Okay, listen, my husband just brought home a 1.3 pound black and white cookie. I need to be able to enjoy that.
I didn't want to see it I remember walking out of the theater and hating it. Me and my friend took our mentees. We were like in our 20s. What was it? Yeah, so I was 23. And our mentees were in high school. Our church, we were in the youth group. And we took them to see that movie. And when we walked out, we were like, we are so sorry. We were like, that was the worst
You took
thing. We took high schoolers. Yes, we did, and we were like, we are so sorry. Like we did
What
not
we're
know.
finding out today is that was the day Jen was fired from hosting youth group.
No longer was she a chaperone.
All right. Oh,
I mean, that's like me.
Go ahead.
Well, that's like me and watching Babadook. Okay, my daughter, I let her choose one scary movie to watch. She chose Babadook with her friend. We watched that movie. It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my and it's a movie that I will never ever watch again.
Boring?
No, it was just badly made. The story,
You didn't like it?
No, it was just. I can't even remember anything about it. It was so bad.
Did
it
you
was
guys
that
like
bad.
that?
I haven't
guys like-
seen it.
I haven't seen it because
What's
I
that?
heard.
Yeah, all I have to do is hear
God,
something
really.
sucks, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I've never seen
It's
it.
bad.
so.
But she's no longer allowed to choose the movie, by the way. So because of that reason.
That's smart.
Or you can let her choose it, but you can just veto
I would
it.
say
Yes, that's true.
TJ was asleep when TJ actually wasn't even home. Grandma and Grandpa stole him for a bulk of this weekend. We got a lot of furniture moved in the house. It was great. But this morning he was like running around, and usually when I have movies on, he'll come in and check it out. I will tell you, not once did he come into the
Oh, thank God.
2019 version. Oh, I don't care. He's 2, whatever.
No, I mean for his sake that he wasn't exposed
his
to it.
sake.
Yeah.
And then also, not to talk politics, but I just find this very funny, is we had a person running for office in our area, just a local person, and she wasn't well liked, but that's neither here nor there. And my son is like running around the house, and he sees her on the screen, stops, goes, "Oh no," and just runs the other way. I almost peed myself. I was like, "That's about the babes." Okay, my son has spoken.
I can only guess who you're talking about. But
No, you really can't. She was so
Okay.
local. You've never
okay.
I'm talking like lower than state senate local.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't even worry about mentioning it, because she's.
Yeah.
Right.
Not-
Right.
not like
Here's
that.
my thing, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but you're a woman and you're running for public office. Do your hair, throw
Right.
on lipstick. I'm not saying you gotta look like a supermodel. just at least present yourself to let us think you fucking
I
can.
mean, I hear, when we have guests, I'm like, well, dang, I gotta like brush my hair now. Like,
right, yeah.
that's just,
Brush your hair and put on bras for you two.
yeah, it's like,
Okay, so we're going to stop here, everyone.
yes.
But don't be upset because Drew and Matt will be back next week for Black Christmas 2019. We're all really excited. So as always, Matt and Drew can be found at the Post Credit Podcast. We're going to link their information down below for you. And Jen and I can always be found at Horror and Heels on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And have a happy and safe beginning to your holiday season. Bye.
Bye.